Good evening.
Good
Yes,
evening,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Good evening.
Yeah, you can hear me?
Yes,
Ma'am.
ma'am.
Okay.
Ma'am.
Quickly, I will revise yesterday's class because many have to still come. Okay, quickly I will revise it. So let us go to random walk topic. So there is a person, Mr. Samek. So he is occupying different positions. So this is the street. On the street he is walking. So starting point I am taking it as a lamp post. Fine. So you can see here x equal to 0 is the reference point. So length of each step is taken as capital L. So this is the positive direction of x. So he's moving from this end to this end. Okay. So the footsteps or the positions of the person, it varies from one end to another end. S is the starting point, E is the ending point. So you can see here, the steps kept by him are not regular. Fine. So the direction of his motion is continuously changing. So this is a perfect statistical process. Okay. So actually, this process resembles to Brownian motion of a molecule. To tell that, this example I have introduced here. Okay. So P refers to probability. So P is the probability of keeping his leg on the left side, and Q is the probability of keeping his leg on the right side. 50% he can keep on left, 50% on right, such that total is 100, or P plus Q, total probability is 1. That is 100%. Okay. If P is 0, Q is 1, Q is 0, P is 1, both cannot take the value 1. Fine. So the variation of the probability as a function of event number. This is 0th event.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes. Yeah.
Few people are waiting, ma'am.
Okay. I will add them. Okay. Only one is there. That's all. Okay. So you can see here the probability. It is continuously. It is changing. It is the maximum value, and finally it approaches the minimum value. Okay. So that's how the probability is defined. So this is a statistical event. Fine. So now with this, quickly I will, because they're still joining. Fine. So let us go to the most fundamental distribution, that is binomial distribution. So just now I talked about two probabilities. So one is the probability on the left side, another is the probability on the right side. So n1 number of steps on left, n2 number of steps on right, such that P plus Q is 1. The net probability is given by the product of the individual probabilities. So for n1 number of events, the probability is P to the power n1, and n2 number of events, it is Q to the power n2, such that net probability, it is the product of these two. So that is P to the power n1 whole thing divided by Q to the whole thing multiplied by Q to the power n2. So capital M is total number of events. Okay. So total number of events, it is nothing but capital N equal to n1 plus n2. Fine. So now with this sequence of events, the possible sequence of such events can be predicted using this formula. So this is called as binomial distribution function. So binomial distribution function for n1 number of events, it is given by this equation. Yesterday I have explained all the parameters. Okay. So you go through this, and if you find anything difficult, you can approach me. Right? So now there is a tendency that a binomial distribution tending to Gaussian distribution. So when this happens, so the condition for converting a Gaussian, the binomial distribution into Gaussian distribution is that n should tend to infinity. Infinity means what? It's a very large event, 10 to the power 6, 1 million. It's a very big number. compared to 1 or 100 or 1000, etc. Okay. So if n is very large, then this equation, it is referred as Gaussian distribution function. Okay. So example, nuclear counting, GM count, counter, you use that, you do the counting. Okay. Statistics, if you study, that statistics, it shows Gaussian distribution. So Gaussian distribution is nothing but it is a binomial distribution. Only difference is that the total number of events is very large. Okay. So with that now, last class, we derived an equation for a binomial function, distribution function. So Ni refers to the ith event. So capital N refers to the total number of events. So sum of all Ni gives you capital N. Here omega I refers to number of accessible states. So accessible means what? The system can access it. So just like you're going to bank and withdrawing money, you have access to the bank. So similarly, the particle or the ensemble or the entities which are there in the ensemble, they have the permission to access that state, or they can attain those states. Okay. So those states, they are called as accessible states. So accessible state number, I'm calling it as omega I for the ith event. It is given by Gi times dE. So what is Gi? It is called as density of state. So what is density of state? So number of states per unit volume, and dE is a very small interval. Okay. So you decrease the value of dE. Yeah, as you make dE as small as possible, GE value will go on decreasing. Number of accessible states will become lesser and lesser. Okay. So with this now, I have introduced the constant. I called it as alpha, and I introduced a variable. I called it as a beta. So beta is equal to 1 by kT. So it is inversely proportional to temperature of the system or ensemble. So I have taken another variable. I called it as Z, called it as partition function. So what is its part, we'll see in the next coming calculations. So here again, I'm introducing the fundamentals. It is called classical statistics, or it is also called as MD statistics. And the distribution is called as MB distribution, or Maxwell-Boltzmann distribution function it is called. Okay. So where it is applicable to identical particle. So that is one thing. And another thing is that when they are identical, it is very difficult to distinguish it. But one more constraint I have introduced in the first slide, that is the total number of particles is small compared to the Gaussian distribution. Okay. So three conditions are there. They are identical. They are difficult to distinguish, and number is very small. Okay. So with that, let capital N be the total number of identical particles in the system. Okay. And Ni refers to the bunch or a group of particles having an energy Ei. Okay. The ith level it is. Okay. So with that now, I am going to the distribution of the particles, how it looks. Okay. So this is a group of particles. So this is some container, you assume it. So let us divide this into smaller and smaller compartments. So each compartment you can enlarge it. So when you enlarge it, you can see the number of particles here. Okay. So what is the condition here? All the compartments, they will have identical number of particles. Okay. So capital N is constant here. It cannot change. So that is the constraint I'm putting here. Okay. So total number is capital N. Summation Ni, it is total value of N. So similarly, if you multiply Ei, what is Ei? So just now I told you, it is the energy of the particle, ith particle. Okay. So in the ith energy level, that is Ei, multiplied by Ni, it is a constant. This is a constraint on the system. So if N is constant, so if you take a differentiation of that, naturally it will be 0. If E is constant, take the differentiation, it will be 0. So these are the two constraints you should remember in the statistics. So now with this fundamental, so let us move to the derivation part. So I'm keeping the system or the gas or entity, whatever it is, there in equilibrium state. So equilibrium state, it is also referred as steady state. Fine. So the probability of finding the system in this state, I am calling it as P. And in equilibrium state or the steady state, the probability will be always maximum. This you have to remember. P refers to probability, possibility or probability is P. So it is always maximum, and we have normalized it to 1. So first graph I have shown you P versus N. So P has been made equal to 1 there. So 1 is the normalized value of P probability. So with this now, I am moving to the statistical description of the system. So P is the probability, K is the Boltzmann constant, and if S is the entropy, what is the connection between all these three? S is given as S equal to K log P, where S is entropy of the system, K is the Boltzmann constant. So because it is an equilibrium state, it refers to a maxima. So if you take P log of that, it will be again a maxima. So you take differentiation of that, naturally it is a constant, it is 0. Fine. So here P value for a binomial distribution, it is given by this equation. You remember this. So GI raised to the power Ni whole thing divided by Ni factorial summation over I. So because there are many compartments, many number of bunch of particles existing in many different accessible levels. So naturally, every I will have its unique value. So each I will contribute this whole, whatever written in the bracket. So many numbers will come, addition will continue here, infinite number of, contribution will come in this summation. So I have, made comprehended, and I made it as summation I, and I have taken it as equation 1. Fine. So now what I will do, I will come to this equation S equal to K log P. So I will divide left hand side by K. So what will happen? S by K is equal to log of P. So P I have defined here. So I am introducing equation 1 into this. So now it becomes summation over I log of this whole equation, that is equation 1, close the bracket. That is the left hand side S by K. Entropy divided by Boltzmann constant. Okay. So now I will call this equation as 2. Fine. So log P you keep as it is. Now I will open this bracket. Logs I will open. So summation Ni log of Gi. So why Ni has come here? Because it is power here. So when you open the log factor, Ni will come as a product. So log of Gi minus log of Ni, close the bracket, and factorial will be followed as it is. Okay. So this is equation 3. So now I will apply one of the famous formula in statistics. It is called as Stirling's formula. So log of Ni factorial, you can write it as Ni log of Ni minus Ni. This is equation 4. So let us continue from equation 4. So what I am doing, I am using Stirling's formula in equation 3. So what is equation 3? This is my equation 3. Log P is equal to summation Ni log Gi minus log of Ni factorial. So second factor is log Ni factorial, which I will substitute from Stirling's formula. So if you substitute, so you will get two terms here, Ni log of Ni plus Ni. Fine. So now you open the bracket. So you can see here, there is a minus sign here. So Ni is here, one more Ni is here. So you can club the log terms together. So it's a minus sign. So what happens? Log of Ni over Gi, this Ni will come as the first term. So only I have rearranged, nothing is cancelled. Fine. So So now you apply summation to individual terms. I have applied to first term summation, second term summation. So summation Ni, what it is? It is total number of particles, that is capital N. So minus summation over I, N of I log Ni divided by G of I. So this is equation number 5. So this equation is applicable to what type of state? Steady state. So what is steady state? It is a maxima. So where the system will attain the equilibrium. So no changes, it is steady. No exchange of heat or energy or particles. So it is steady in nature. So because it is steady, so this refers to a maxima. Log P refers to maxima. So if you take differentiation of log of P maxima, this will be 0. Okay. So differential of equation 5 I have written here and have made that equal to 0. So now you take the differentiation. Individually, you have to take the differentiation here. So n is a constant. If you take the differentiation, it is 0. dn is 0. So now I'll go to the second term. Minus sign will come here. Again, you can see here there are two factors. So I have to use chain rule. Fine. So first apply the differentiation to the first term. Keep the second term constant. Next, keep first term constant. Apply differentiation to the second term. So what will happen? This minus sign, summation over I, dni, log of ni over gi minus, now ni is as it is. So I am applying differentiation to the second term. It is 1 over log x means it is 1 over x it is. So what happens? This will get inverted. gi over ni it will become. So here what is the variable? N is the variable. So differential term will go, or I will put for ni. So here dni I have taken, here also I have taken dni. Right hand side it is equal to 0. So now you simplify this equation. So dni log of ni over gi is left as it is, no change. So ni will get cancelled with ni. Gi is a constant. And this summation I am applying directly to dni. So what is summation dni? It is 0. So what is summation dni? It is summation ni differentiation. So summation ni is capital N. So if you take differentiation of capital N, N is a constant, capital N is a constant. So summation dni will become 0. So that's why I put it 0. Only first term is left as it is. So this is equation number 6. Fine. So now what I will do? I will multiply summation dni by alpha and another term summation I ei dni by beta, and I will add it to equation 6. So what is equation 6? Minus summation log of ni over gi equal to 0. This is equation 6. So you can see here I have kept the first term as it is from equation 6. So I added two more terms here. So dni multiplied by alpha. So alpha I have written here, dni I have written outside the bracket. So second term, it is beta times this factor. So beta e of I have written inside the bracket. dni I have taken as a common factor and kept it outside. So this right hand side of equation 6 is 0. So this equation also will have right hand side 0. Okay. So now from this, what you can do? You can rearrange the equation. So log of ni over gi you keep on one side, remaining you send on the right hand side. Fine. So what is happening there? I have taken, just a minute. I have taken only the inner part of the summation. So I am simplifying it. So log of ni over gi is equal to the second and third term I have pushed on the right hand side. Okay. So from this, what I will do? I will get ni by removing log. So actually it is to the base e, natural logarithm. So what happens? The right hand side will get an exponential term with a minus sign because minus sign is common factor here. So e to the power minus alpha plus beta of e of I, and Gi, it is in the denominator, it will come here as a product. Okay. So now try to rearrange this. Minus sign will go to the denominator. So you will be sending this second term to the denominator. Now I will split the exponential term. It is e to the power alpha, e to the power beta, e of I. So e to the power alpha I will take to the numerator, and the second term I will keep in the denominator. Okay. So e to the power minus alpha, I am putting it as n by z. So what is z? Z is called as partition function. It is defined by the classical statistical thermodynamics as summation I g of I e to the power beta e of I. Okay. So this is the sum of all the I number. I will change from 1 to n. N may be 100, million, it may be infinity. It can take any value and it varies. But z is only one value that will have. So that is the total value. Only the system will have one z value. It is called as partition function. So why it is called partition function? We will discuss in the coming classes. Okay. So with that now, so what is left hand side? Ni. So in red letters I have written here Ni. This is the final equation. So Ni equal to the first term e to the power minus alpha is n over z. Okay. And the factor Gi I have written it here. And e to the power Ei by kt is in the denominator. I have taken to the numerator, so it will have a minus sign. So this gives you the distribution function for what type of particles? The particles which are identical. Okay, so you cannot differentiate it. But I have not introduced the spinning factor, etc. Only identity I have taken into account. They are all identical. If they are identical, how they will get distributed? It is given by this equation. This is called as MB distribution function. And this whole equation is the base for the Maxwell-Boltzmann statistics. Okay. So equation 7 is one of the important equations. So you will get one question on this. It's a very important equation. So you have to give salient features of Maxwell-Boltzmann statistics, and then you have to define G. What is that? G is density of state. You have to define partition function. Okay, and with that you will be defining the distribution function Ni. So usually if you go to any book, so what they will write is they are not writing it Ni on the left side. Simply they will give it as F. So F refers to Maxwell-Boltzmann function, distribution function. Okay. So this completes one full question. If anybody is having any doubt, you can ask me. Otherwise, I will continue to the next section.
Ma'am, display the page number 3 once, ma'am.
Which page?
3,
All the
ma'am.
page? 3. Okay. I will share this PowerPoint. Don't worry. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
I'll share this PowerPoint. Once all the class is over, the entire PowerPoint or the video recording I have taken. So I will
Okay,
share
ma'am.
this. Don't worry.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am.
So Gautam, you take the attendance and send it to me.
Yes, ma'am. I'll take
Okay.
that.
Okay.
Okay.
So now with this, so just now we derived n. What is the n? It gives the number of particles. Okay. So now we'll go for the energy part. So MB energy distribution function it is called as. Okay. So how the function is defined? Energy distribution function it is called as F of E of I. So why it is F of E of I? Because F is function of E, and it is ith compartment or the ith level of the energy. That is why the subscript I is coming here. So it is defined as a ratio of Ni over G of I. So what is Ni? Ni is the number of the particles present in the ith energy level, and Gi is what? What is that? Density of state for ith level it is. Okay. So now we have defined, just now we derived equation 7. So I have written that equation 7 here. Okay, I'll introduce that into this equation. So left hand side is f of E of I. So Ni I am substituting as it is from 7. Okay. So divided by G of I. So now you redistribute, rearrange this equation. So what happens? So N by Z I am keeping as the first factor. Okay. The third factor with exponential term, I am keeping it as a second factor. So G of I is there here, and there is another G of I in the denominator, they will get cancelled. Okay. So N by Z, I am calling it as another function. So it is exponential function. So it is e to the power minus alpha. So just now we defined beta. So what is beta? Is 1 over kt. Okay. So with that now, what will happen to this equation now? N by Z is e to the power minus alpha. Fine. So 1 over kt is beta. So beta has come here. So E of I is as it is here. Okay. So now you can see there are two negative terms here. So take negative sign as a common factor. So remaining I have put it in the bracket. So this is e to the power minus bracket alpha plus beta times E of I. So this is what left hand side. It's a function, energy function. So energy function for a Maxwell Boltzmann distribution or MB distribution or MB statistics, it is given as f of E is equal to 1 divided by e to the power alpha plus beta times E of I. So equation 7 and equation 8, they are very important equations. You have to remember that. So I have taken a clip of that and I have put here so that you can remember well. These are the two clips we are going to do. So these are the two main equations. You write and practice it. Is a very important part of what is that, statistical thermodynamics. So you go through this. So this completes one full question. Shall I go to next part? Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
So second type, girls not speaking. Are you all right? Understood, no?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now with us now, I'm moving to the second type of statistics. It is called as Bose-Einstein statistics. So there are two scientists here. One is Bose, another is Einstein. Both of them, they have contributed. So together it is called as Bose-Einstein statistics, or it is also called as B statistics. So similar to Maxwell-Boltzmann statistics, here also we are getting two equations. So one equation is for total number of particles and another equation is for energy distribution. Okay. So let us see now what are the basic assumptions of Bose-Einstein statistics. It is, so I am reading one by one the points, I will explain it. It is applicable for identical and indistinguishable particles. What is this? This characteristic same as MB statistics. There also we had identical particles and we could not distinguish them, indistinguishable there. Okay, same point it is. Point number 2, any number of particles can occupy a single cell in the phase space. So what is phase space? So this is our phase space. Okay, so it is a hypothetical diagram. It is actually we are imagining it. So there are Ni number in the ith level in one compartment. Okay, I may vary 1, 2, 3, etc. till infinity. So accordingly, I am separating the particles and putting it in the compartment. So this whole thing is phase space. Okay. So phase space gives you the definition. The definition of the whole system. It is phase space. So let us go. Any number of particles can occupy a single cell in the phase space. The size of the cell cannot be less than h cube. So this already it has been taught in BSc. So if you don't know, some other class I will tell you, teach you how you get it as h cube. Okay, what is h? H is the Planck's constant. So actually I have shown here a two-dimensional picture. It is 3D actually. So if you take volume of one cell, so volume of one cell will be h cube. So that is called unit cell of phase space. Okay. So what is volume of one cell of the phase space? It is H cube, where H is called as Planck constant. Fine. The number of phase space cell is comparable with number of particles. So what is the importance of this point? So let us say there are 100 particles are there. So 100 particles, if I go on putting in one compartment, I need 100 cells. Minimum I need 100. Okay. Maximum it can be anything, but minimum I need 100. But I can put 2 also. Then I need 25 cells. Sorry, 50 cells I need. So if I put 3, I have to get 30 cells, etc. So that means how many number of particles you are putting in the cell, that will decide the number of cells available for the particle. So I am showing that in the next coming diagram, you will understand that. So here one index we are defining. So it is called as occupation index. So what is occupation index? It is the ratio of Ni over Gi. So what is Ni? The number of particles in the ith energy level. And what is Gi? Is density of state. It is for the ith level. The ratio should be always equal to 1. So this is called as occupation index. So this is characteristics of Bose and Stick statistics. You have to remember it. Okay. So now one more condition he is applying. What is that? It is applicable to the particles with integral spin angular momenta in the units of h upon 2 pi. So the spin should be integral. What is spinning? So revolving around its own axis. So that we call it as spin. So it is quantized. So it can be 1h by 2 pi, 2h by 2 pi, etc. Or it can be nh by 2 pi. So n refers to number of rotations around its own axis. Okay. So all particles which obey Bose and Stick statistics, they are called as bosons. So a common name is given here, boson. So examples are photon, phonon, meson, etc. Many types of particles are available. So these are all called as bosons. Okay. So what are bosons? So bosons are the particles which are identical and they have got integral spin angular momentum. That is the characteristics of boson. The wave function of the system is symmetric under the positional exchange of any two particles. This I will explain when we go to particle in a box. Because symmetry, if I have to explain, I need the diagram. That time I will explain. So only you remember the function is symmetric. The wave function are associated with the particle, that is boson. They are symmetric in nature. Okay. The total energy and total number of particles of the entire system is constant. So let us go here to the diagram. So compare this to the earlier diagram, so which I have given for B statistics. So you can see the difference here. So this is a three-dimensional picture. It is, this box is three-dimensional. So just now, as I explained, I am putting one particle in each compartment. Okay. So what happens? All the cells are occupied here. So 1, 2, 3, etc. This is the kth cell. This is a k minus 1 cell. Some index I have given here. So here N1. N1 refers to the number of particles in the first cell. Nk refers to number of particles in the kth cell. Nk minus 1 refers to the particles in k minus 1 cell. Okay. So accordingly, I have plotted the energy also. So you can see here, these are the numbers similar to a principal quantum number. Okay. In the, what is that? Bohr's atomic model, similar to that. So right hand side, I have shown the energy. So E1, E2, E3, Ek minus 1, Ek. So you can see here, each particle will occupy one energy level. So they are distinguishable. You can distinguish on the basis of energy, but you cannot distinguish from appearance. All are identical and all are having integral spin angular momentum. And each one is 1 unit cell. And what is volume of 1 unit cell? It is H cross cube. So what is H cross? Is H upon 2 pi. So here I have given one example. So here number of particles, you count it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In one row 6 are there. Totally, how many? 4 rows are there. 4 into 6, 24. Okay. So if n is 24, G should be 24. Why? Because the ratio should be 1. So otherwise, it is not Bose-Einstein statistics. It is some other statistics. So the volume of each cell is H cross cube, where H cross is H upon 2 pi. So with this now, I'm moving to the next diagram. So you can see here, this is little bit tough compared to MB statistics. So you can see here. So the first cell, N1, I called it as N1 is 1. Okay. So the N1 is 1 means what? There is only one particle is there. So I am dividing this into 3 compartments. Let us say GI, I have given it as 3. So G1, G2, G3, I am calling it as. So what happens? At any instant of time, the particle can exist in any one compartment. It cannot exist in all because there is only one particle is there. So how it goes? Either it can be in G1, okay, or it can be in G2, okay, or it can be in G3. That is the 3 possible states. Fine. So you can see here diagram is given here. So 3 possible states. If you go to this second one, so I'm putting here 2 compartments, G4 and G5. I'm calling it as fine. So you can see here the particle can be here or particle can be here. Okay. So here you can see there are 2 possible arrangements are valid. So R value I have taken it as 2 here. There's only one possible arrangement is taken. R value is taken as 1. This I'll explain once I go to the next derivation part, how it comes. Okay. Next, N4, N1, N2 is over. This is N3. So G5 is over. G6 and G7. So GI, I'm putting it as 2. Okay. So there is 2 particles, 2 compartments are available. Number of particles is 1. So number of particles is 1 means either it has to be in 6, G6, or it has to be in G7. Okay. That means one particle is occupying one cell at a time. That means I cannot take both combinations because only one particle in one cell. So one